Hi everyone. Last evening I was asked the question of what's wrong with me that I need a wheelchair to walk. I thought I'd make a quick video for my YouTube channel to share this with others. What originally was wrong with me is called Legg-Perthes disease. It's a disease that the bone in the hip joint dies, the ball part, and the ball begins to compress and become flat because of the body weight pushing down on it. Once there's a new path, the blood flow restarts and you're left with a hip that is like a 90-year-old farmer. So this happened to me starting when I was 2 years old. And this was in 1979. So the doctors meant well, but really did not understand what they were doing and the effects of the treatment that they were prescribing to avoid an operation would have on my skeletal system long term. I ended up having 2 major hip surgeries when I was 5 years old, and basically it gave me 6 good years of mobility. Beginning in my teen years, my mobility began to unwind, the same type of idea as a wind-up doll, although much more slowly. I had arthritis in my hips when I was 18, and eventually, by the time I was 29, I just couldn't keep walking. And I ended up with crutches, and then further digression occurred, and I ended up with the wheelchair and the challenges I have now. Part of it's being with chronic pain, and part of it is problems with my knees. If there's someone out there who's really struggling, the best advice that I can give you is to try and keep yourself as physically active as is possible. So first off, it means engaging in the process that involves pain management. That, what I mean by that is getting yourself a doctor who will work with you and is someone you can trust that will help you bring your pain under control so you have the best quality of life possible. It's best that only one doctor prescribe pain medication so they can get you under control, and that you're not overdosing by taking too much. Like if a family doctor gives some medication and a surgeon gives some and an ER doctor gives some, you could very easily die as a drug overdose or cause serious harm to your inside organs. So you only want to have one doctor following you for your pain control needs. I also want to speak to being physically active as possible. For me, this has turned into using a swimming pool an hour a day, 5 times a week. There's a whole commitment that comes with this, and it may not be necessary to go every single day, but I would encourage you to do what you could to be as active as is possible. A lifeguard shared with me that one of his friends has cerebral palsy. His parents forced him to do the physiotherapy during his teen years, but as an adult he refused. Unfortunately, it's turned into him not being able to walk because of the bones deteriorating. So, I understand that exercise can cause pain, and you do have to be able to justify the activities that you're doing. If a pool's too much, maybe it is that some of these new game consoles that let you emulate bowling or playing tennis or different types of activity would be good for you, so that you're keeping your limbs active, and then finding a scenario that works, like sitting in a really comfortable chair that has a good cushion and back support while you sort of exercise and do as much as is possible for yourself. The nice part about going to the pool is I've got to know the people who use the various time slots. So there's support once relationships start. And after 4 to 5 visits on a single night, you begin to figure out who the regulars are that use that time slot. Why I bring this up is so that you can get some face-to-face contact that's meaningful. You don't have to have a deep conversation every time you see your friends, but it would be just spending time with people that may help make the difference and keep you motivated to keep going to the pool or keep doing what it is you need to make out and have your best quality of life. And that's really what it's about. I also want to speak briefly about using a wheelchair. You could very easily let your limbs go if you're still able to use them if you don't take care of them. It's extremely important to do whatever exercise is possible to promote the health in especially your lower body if you rely on a wheelchair. At a bare minimum, I would suggest you look up the term isometric exercises. These are exercises where you stress your body, but you're not moving. So it provides a bare minimum to get you started. And I did this when it was too hard for me, like too painful, to be using the swimming pool. And I do attribute it with partly making the recovery as best as it's able to be for me. Isometric exercises might, for example, be putting a pillow between your knees and then pushing inward. Your knees aren't going to really move inward, but the muscles have contracted and then relaxed because of pushing inward. So that's an example that you and your doctor or you and your physiotherapist could think about and make a list of 4 or 5 that you could do depending on your specific needs. There's also chair-based exercises that you could do, meaning you're sitting down, so it's not stressing your hips, for example, but you still get the most workout that's possible for your body. So you could use the internet to search some chair-based exercises, or maybe exercises that are typically used for seniors that would help you and help you learn and see what's available. You know, senior exercises don't tend to be high impact. I'm not trying to insult you by suggesting senior exercises, but in my own life, that's basically what I've had to do, you know, and I'm just a young man. I would also suggest that you research if there are any community programs either sponsored by your local hospital or a community center. Maybe the YMCA has a stroke recovery program. It all depends on what's available to you locally. Sometimes doing exercises with somebody is easier. I remember a social worker once asked me if I needed her to do my exercises with me so she could help me. There's also the option of a physiotherapist training a personal support worker and the personal support worker doing exercises with you. It's really important that you do the most that's possible, and then you do your best to have an attitude that you're embracing life and that you want the best that's possible out of your life. I hope this has been of some help to you. I am willing to talk about what I go through in more detail if you have specific questions. Thanks for this time together today. Bye for now.